They simply try to relegate polygyny to just sex. Monogamy, for example, this one man, one woman thing that fails the vast majority of the time. Women weaponize sex. I haven't come across any men that I coach, that are clients, or even I'm involved with different social groups and networks that say they're actually getting enough from their wives.
Warning, viewer discretion is advised. The content, views, and educational material you are about to experience could challenge your belief, trigger strong emotions, and frankly, piss you off. This isn't for everyone. If you're not ready to confront new ideas, or if your feelings bruise easily, this might be the time to click away. Expect to be challenged, to think, and you might even want to scream at the screen. Proceed with caution, and remember, you chose to be here. Let's get it.
Demetrius Saifullah Bey, professionally known as Demigod, pseudo known as Demetrius Bey and Hafiz Bey as my writer's name. And today on the 100 Moors podcast, we have a special guest. You know what I'm saying? This is the author who wrote the foreword for the masterpiece, Polygamy Moorwet. And I appreciate your time. I appreciate your energy, your insight, everything that you brought to the foreword. That was amazing. And it's a pleasure to have you on the show, brother.
I definitely appreciate the introduction and what you're doing, for the whole nation. I mean, one of the things I enjoy is that you out in the forefront, you ain't shy to speak your mind, and you're going ahead and leading the charge. So, yeah, I appreciate you having me here.
Wow. So right now, you're not even in the States with us right now. Right now, you out of state. You're an international brother. You moving around. You have your family with you. You got businesses. You established. So you're like the prototype, the epitome of what a polygynous family man should be striving for. And I'm impressed. And like I said, you got a student. You've had a silent student, even though I haven't, actually tapped into outstanding personal relationships. But from the outside, I have been a student. I've been watching. I have been listening. Every time I get a chance to catch one of your videos, I definitely tap in. And I also, your information allows me to go to other information. Some people, they say they want to instruct people, guide people, teach people, but their information is abstract. It's not really like you can really, take it and then, all right, that's all I need. I can go now and go more in depth, do more research. And your information is precise, and that's what I could do with it. I find it very, very informative, where I can go and do more research for myself, even just with the family and what you guys are doing. You have everything out there for the public, and that's brave. That's brave. I do commend you on that. You know what I mean? But
one of the things, just to kind of even go into a little bit more detail, because you make me sound better than I am. But for those who don't know, who I haven't had the pleasure of meeting just yet, I am Coach Nazir. I'm one of the founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships and one of the authors of the book, Let's Talk Polygamy Uncensored, as well, that you could be referencing. And, I've been practicing polygyny now for 15 years, actually a little over 15 years. I have 10 biological children with my wives, including, or not including, 2 bonus children. So that would make 10 children with it. Now, you mentioned, out in the public, and that's definitely a challenge. And listen, we weren't trying to teach people about polygyny, like, we're going to go ahead and teach people and jump into that. Not at all. We were looking for resources when I first began my journey, because I had no idea what I was doing. It's more common to just cheat, sneak around, lie, all of that type of stuff when it comes to what's going on for where I'm from and in my community and relatives. And I'm sure you can relate as well as the audience. You know what I'm saying? I had relatives like, you don't marry another one. You just have them on the side, and so on and so forth. And it's a much more acceptable thing. However, I decided to go the honorable route. And once we figured this thing out after several years, I was able to go ahead and re-engineer it. And then we decided to go ahead and empower other people, at least sharing our story. And it turned, of course, into much more, because a lot of people are suffering in silence, not having resources, while, others are championing the cause of rainbow flags and people who can't even procreate. And love is love, and it's all good when it's that way. However, when it comes to polygyny, a way to exponentially grow your family and operate with nobility and requiring you as a man to be, more than twice the man, they consider that problematic, and we don't. So we decided to go ahead and kind of plant the flag, lead with it, share, and empower others as best as we can. So we definitely appreciate all of the students, whether they silent or they dropping inboxes or emailing us, letting us know the impact that we've had. We love that from many different continents. Right now, being in Africa and world schooling the children and the family and stuff like that has been a dream for quite some time. And, having the ability to impact that and impact people at the same time is absolutely incredible. So we appreciate you.
You living the dream, brother. You living both of our dreams. You living the dream for me. I'm gonna definitely be right behind you. Like I said, you the role model, following in your footsteps. You're an honorable man. I don't think I beefed you up at all. I kept it 100. Boy, you know what I'm saying? The people out there, make sure you check them out. You're gonna see what I'm saying. Very honorable, very integral. You know what I'm saying? Very spiritual. And he stands on principles and stand 10 toes down. That's why he's one of the person that I picked to write the foreword. He's the person that not one of the person. He is the person that I picked to write the foreword. And I want to touch on what you were saying about American culture. Like, we have like this bastard American culture, like this culture where it's all right to sleep around. Like you're not the only one. The older brothers did it to me too. Like, marry, what are you talking about? You don't need to do all that. Just, yeah. And I'm like, I never understood it because my mother always instilled in me marriage. You know what I'm saying? The institution of family, not the corporate institution, but just the spiritual institution of family. And I never really understood it. I'm in my 40s and I have one son, and my son is illegitimate one. He's someone that I conceived living a life of ignorance. You know what I'm saying? One night stand. And I vow to never have that be done again because I wasn't in his life to raise him. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of things that wasn't, today we feel it's natural, but it's not natural. You know what I mean? The single parent home, me in prison, it just was something that I never thought. And I felt bad because that's nothing that I wanted to do. So polygamy was the driving force. I said, this can't happen again. You know what I'm saying? I can't practice those practices that I did before. You know what I mean? But that's championed in American culture.
Of course. I mean, being responsible for your pleasures is not something that the American or Western culture in general celebrates, regardless. I mean, I give an example. In France, it's absolutely illegal to get a personal DNA test on your own child outside of having a court order, because it's estimated that over 30% of children that are born are not that actual father's children. You know what I'm saying? So that's the type of culture we're talking about. You must get a court order to get a DNA test. You can't get a home DNA test, none of that. You actually get charged. It's absolutely illegal. What does that say? You know what I'm saying? We have popular shows like, the whole Maury Povich thing. You are not the father, or paternity court, as though this is something normal and natural. It's not. It's something destructive to the family. And we know, or should know more than anybody else, how harmful that is to our culture, where our women in general are already at a loss.
That's a fact.
So whether that is incarceration, what is that? Michelle Alexander already broke that down when it comes to creating an entirely different class in her book, The New Jim Crow. When it comes to this homosexuality and things that are going on from that perspective. And the amount of women that are on the DL and on something else that are sick and that are imitating many of these, Europeans and what they're on. Those who aren't, who have mental issues, those who are substance abusers, women abusers that beat them up, all these types of things, man. I mean, just within the last several days, I saw a sad situation where a couple was online, they ended up arguing, and the woman kept on pressing and everything else. She said something about somebody, sexually, that he did something with somebody sexually. He ended their life and then ended her life. and ended his when he got put over. You know what I'm saying? So this is
Oh yeah,
very
yeah. I heard about that.
exactly. You know, and this is unfortunately not uncommon. You know, this dysfunction or the celebrating the women having baby showers, not married, nothing like that. So you literally having baby showers and you're celebrating the single motherhood thing, whether that's Rihanna, whether that's Keke Palmer, and so on, or getting cuckolded like Sierra, you know what I'm saying, with her husband. I mean, we can go on and on and on with the destruction of the family, or not separating when it comes to our women in particular from the ratchets that are out there who have loud voices, who are obnoxious, who are the biggest danger to the family, because a child raised in a single mother-led household is problematic. You know, all of the stats are clear. The numbers don't lie. So when it comes to likelihood of imprisonment or promiscuity or being abused, dealing in criminality, becoming addicted to different drugs, not finishing schooling, and so on and so forth, the numbers are astronomical. Where a single father household, which kind of reminds me of some older movies, is much different. You know, I can now relate and see, yeah, it makes a lot of sense where Boys in the Hood, where Trey's mom called up furious his pops when he was acting crazy and sent him to go live with his daddy.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I get it. And he was also one of the ones that was living, the only one really living at the end, because his friends like, you know, Doughboy, you know, Ice Cube, ended up getting killed. And Ricky got killed as well, even though, you know, they was raised by single mothers. You know,
That's
from
a
going
fact.
from that and going into even looking at you know, Minister Society, we could look at all these different messages, but now put them together in our 40s at this time, seeing the wisdom behind it. But the main thing that I think that about polygyny that's very important is it requires the man to become exceptional. This isn't for average people. This ain't for average men. You know, this holds them to a higher standard. This is not for the women that say, you know what? Well, don't embarrass me. You know, you can have your girls, but don't bring them forward, or just don't bring no babies back. It's not for that. This is for those who actually want to stand on their principles and on morals and want to recognize that legacy actually means something. Now, is it easy? No, but we're men. You don't seek out easy. All right. The question is not whether or not it's easy. It's really about, is it worth it? And I know for me, if I want to have 10 more children, I have the ability to do that. Now, that's not my goal right now at this time at all. You know, I'd rather work on getting my children married, because I already have a couple of children married, got some grandbabies now. You know what I'm saying? So it's an incredible thing. I want to establish things for the next generation and the generations after that I'll never meet. And one of the ways to be able to do that exponentially is through polygyny. Now, people might not be familiar with the term polygyny, so let's break that down. They're familiar with the word polygamy. Now, polygamy is genderless. Polygamy simply means a spouse who's married to multiple spouses. Clearly, a man or a woman could be a spouse, but there are two forms under that. There's polygyny, all right, like gynecology, right? So polygyny is a husband who is married to multiple wives. Polyandry is a woman who's married to multiple husbands. And people don't know of that term, and I didn't really know of that term anyway, because the vast majority of polygamy that's ever been practiced throughout history has been polygyny. It's been a husband with multiple wives. So I use those terms interchangeably because, of course, when people are searching, they're searching for polygamy, generally meaning polygyny. So, you know, just to really get that out the way, educational wise, is very important. But it requires us to have higher standards, lead our families, become exceptional.
That's a fact. I love the fact that you touched on the fact that you know, when it comes to polygyny, a lot of people, you know, they have their you know, pseudo, I don't know, I guess they just go off these rumors and they have this ideal that degrades the women. And I'm like,
the myths and stereotypes, no doubt. There's a bunch of them.
I don't see how it degrades the women though. I don't see how, for me, if I have a daughter, I would rather her have a man, a husband. That's number one, not a man or a boyfriend. I would rather her be secure and safe and have a foundation with a husband who lives by the principles that polygyny brings out. Like you said, it doesn't matter what religion you in. The same rules apply when it comes to spiritual polygyny, because it's spiritual. So that means you have to have some type of principles. You have to have some type of integrity. You have to have some type of transparency of being honest. You know what I'm saying? Honesty. So it's still all the same thing when it comes to when you look at American culture and you look at polygyny, how does my daughter going from man to man to man to man to man looking for her husband, how is that better than an constructive foundational system which guarantees she has a husband and a husband that lives on those spiritual principles?
Well, one of the
How do you
reasons
feel about that?
that they have these stereotypes and myth is because they simply try to relegate polygyny to just sex. All right, which is foolish, but is very interesting. And I hypothesize and theorize that the reason is because most women only see themselves as sex objects, not the men, but women. This is what I mean. In monogamy, for example, this one man, one woman thing that fails the vast majority of the time. Women weaponize sex. I haven't come across any men that I coach, that are clients, or even I'm involved with different social groups and networks that say they're actually getting enough from their wives. Some may say, beforehand we were doing it before we got married, it was getting enough and doing this, and then we got married just like this, and then after the baby came, it really dropped. You know what I'm saying? They go on. So they look at themselves as a sex object because men are the ones who are in control of a relationship or a marriage. The man is the one who proposes. That's what women are like, oh my God, and they go crazy whatever man proposes. He's the one that's in charge of determining where his resources, his protections and stuff go with a woman. But women, of course, are in charge of the sex. All right, we know this. So when it's polygyny, now that's a problem because now he has another option of someone that actually is going to provide this physical intimacy for him. So when you see yourself as simply somebody who pleases physically or somebody who has this power and you're wielding it as a weapon against your husband, therefore, now it comes in with, this is problematic. This is competition. Now I need to step my game up and actually be able to please him in different ways or develop intimacy in different ways versus trying to wield what's between my legs as a weapon. All right, so they look at it simply as sexual. Now, sex part of it, of course, sex is part of any type of marriage. Duh, of course. You want to have a big family? That comes from having sex. Yes. Now, men, in general, a healthy man is going to have 10 times the level of testosterone as a healthy woman. The interesting thing is that there is a very important thing to understand when it comes to sex. One is men and women are not the same. We're not the same. So women say, why can't we just have multiple husbands? First of all, you don't want multiple husbands because you cannot 100% please a man 100%. What I mean by that is if a man wants to do it every single day, you're not even available every single day of the month. Second, by doing it too much or too long, you can get swollen, you can get dry, you can get all kinds of other issues that you need to take care of little mama down there. Okay? Right. So that is looking at it only from a sexual perspective. Now, what you going to do with multiple men? See, what you're saying is that you're talking about different fantasies that you may have in your head. Marriage is not some type of gangbang. It's not that. So this is not having multiple husbands for this act. That's not what it is. I absolutely take care of my wives, all of my children, see everybody every single day. I take care of that. Now, the percentage, if you want to calculate the hours in the day versus the percentage of hours you having sex in the day, what you trying to say is 10%? So you having sex 2.5 hours a day? Nah, bro, it's way less than that. If you calculate more numbers. Yeah, sex is a part of a healthy relationship. Yep, no doubt. Intimacy is absolutely very important in its multiple forms. So let's go on with the other foolishness. Plus, we are external, you're internal. So what does that mean? That means any type of man that will agree to a polyandrous or polyamorous relationship with a woman is not the type of man that you're actually really attracted to. It's not somebody that you will consider out, somebody who's assertive, somebody who's a leader. Because there's no man that's going to go up into a woman and release his seed that can live inside of her for 5 days trying to get to that egg and go behind another man within that 5 days. And all of a sudden, this man is mixing fluids. That's not a strong man. That's not somebody you respect. You know what I'm saying? So let's go on with the foolishness because you don't want to cook for more than one, to clean for more than one, to have this home that you have to take care of for multiple men. Doesn't even make any sense. So the knee-jerk reaction or just the competing with men, stop it. Stop.
That's a fact.
We don't do that. However, you also notice when we talk about groupies, you don't see a whole bunch of male groupies at some female singer show. Oh my God, trying to get with her. You don't see that. But you see women doing that. You hear Drake in his songs talking about this man do all this stuff for you, and you throw it all away for one night with me. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying?
That's the
So there are
culture.
many
That's the
men,
culture.
exactly, and they exonerate it as though it's something that's high. They praise it, they glamorize it as though that's what's up. Like you mentioned, where's the benefit in catching bodies and increasing your body count? There's none. There's no honor in that. Children not knowing who their father is, totally, being absent and stuff in their lives. So one of the things that could really put a peg in the foundation of the family is polygyny for exceptional men. Is it for everybody? No. You know why it's not for everybody? Mathematically, you could easily see that there's not twice as many women on the planet than there is men. So just since I mentioned the planet, I also want to make this clear too. On the entire planet, there's about 0.5% more men than women. Now, the reality is you, I, women, men, everybody, every man is not available for every woman on the planet, nor is that their potential market. So I'm talking about specifically, if I look at America, and there's over 7 million more women than there are men. And if I look particular in my demographic, the melanated people in our community, there's about 4, sometimes some stats say even 5 times many available women to men. When you go on a college campus, there's 7 women for every 1 man. And the women aren't looking for average men. I think Kevin Samuels kind of made that famous. They're looking for the top upper echelon of men. So if you're looking for a man at 6 figures, 6 feet, 6-pack, for example, well, you're looking at less than 10% of men. And the majority of women want that. So it's even that much more competitive for you. So women are actually making the market polygynous, the sexual marketplace, if you will.
That's a
I'm
fact.
strongly suggesting that every man strive to be qualified to do it. Number one, you already want it if you're a straight man. That's already something designed in you. Having a woman that's got your back, that's speaking life into you, and that's with you, helps increase your ambition and who you are. All right. It helps solidify your family, your foundation, your legacy. But
Fact.
winning is really into the choosing. So thoughts, ratchets, all of those on the side, they got big mouths and they're obnoxious, are not wife material. You know who you are. That's not this life. But being the type of man you need to be, that increases your optionality. That's what I teach men, for example. And speaking of daughters, I'm not speaking just simply to you as a peer. I'm speaking also as a father of these 10 children, right? Plus my 2 bonus children. So that means I'm responsible for 5 daughters. 2 of my daughters are already married. 3 of my daughters aren't. And these 3 daughters, for example, prefer their husbands practice polygyny. They've never been in any relationship with any man. Number one, that's almost like a unicorn in the West. They just wear white dresses because it's custom, not white dresses because it represents purity.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So I have 3 daughters that represent purity, that actually want their future husbands to be strong enough to practice polygyny because they've seen the benefits, because I've been able to demonstrate it and they benefited from it up close. But
Indeed.
this,
That's
I think,
powerful.
is the way of the future. It's the way of now. If we're looking at surviving and thriving as a people, wherever we are in the world, that's absolutely real life.
That's powerful. You said so much. And I want the people to understand that this man has 5 daughters. I have a friend who has a daughter. And when he first seen that I wrote the book Polygamy Moorwet, he lashed out at me. You don't got no daughters. You only have a son. How dare you? And this is a guy that I grew up with from high school. I'm like, did you even read the book? Before you coming at me, did you even read the book? Do you even understand what we're saying? And no, he did not read the book. He's totally turned off. And he felt that I was degrading his daughter subliminally for some reason. And it's just crazy. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. I think that
most men are weak men. They meddle in mediocrity. Just being real. They want
fact.
multiple women, so therefore they lie, they play games, or they front like Derek Jackson or Yada and stuff like that, right? So they become super simps. All right, playing games. First of all, that's something that's denigrating and disrespectful to women to begin with. All right. But most men, they don't want polygyny because it requires them to become more. Many play games in monogamy. They get upset They become overly emotional. They argue women back and forth like a woman. That's a very, very feminine thing to do. So most don't want it, but they don't want it because it requires responsibility. So you get sayings, and I understand what they mean. They say, all right, why buy a cow when you get the milk for free? You know, as though we don't have an industry that promotes jump downs. You got OnlyFans, you got swiping on apps, you got one night hookups, you got porn addiction, right? You got prostitutes, you got the whole $40 joke thing, you know what I'm saying, dealing with, you know, hookers on the corner. You know what I mean? So as though this ain't real life, as though Malcolm didn't talk about it in the autobiography of Malcolm X, about the morning rush before men went to work, and many of them that weren't even having sex with women, they were simply conversing with them because their wives were overbearing to them. You know what I'm saying? So this ain't something new. You know, people aren't lined up in free clinics with STDs or STIs talking about, oh yeah, this is because of my husband got another wife. It ain't because of polygyny that they there. You know what I'm saying? It's out, it's respectful, it's peace. You ain't passing that around. Nah,
that's a fact.
You're already sharing. Men, you know, I recently read some statistics dealing with black women and black women, and black men, and 1 million women, 1 million women, more than men, are parents, which means they getting around a whole lot more and they sharing a lot of the same men.
Exactly.
Right? So we can ignore it, try to get mad in their emotions with it, or you can recognize why it's actually a part of every scripture. Now, does that mean it's easy? Nah. Does that mean it's been success all the time? No. But that's where we had to go ahead and, you know what, become the change that we wanted to see. When we discovered some basic principles instead of just the trial and error and really how to make this work correctly and in a healthy manner and being upfront, that's why we wanted to share best practices and equip people. That's why I decided to go ahead and coach, and we start some online programs, or we have a community and so on and so forth. Because if you see stuff that's out there right now that's doing polygamy, it's oversex stuff. It's sexualized. They're all kissing each other.
That's the quote unquote poly community is just all sexual. Like, what's poly? What does that mean? That's a broad term. Poly community. Like, I don't deal with none of that. Like, that is it keeps you trapped in the paradigm. Like, a lot of people don't understand that keeps you trapped in the paradigm. But I want to ask you, right? We already know this is not for, like you said, for a young brother who's looking to get in polygamy. He cannot seek the woman who's ratchet. This is not for Lakeisha and Latasha in the projects who's still practicing that same nigga culture. The women that he has to focus on has to exuberate certain qualities. And just like your daughters, they need to come from not a polygyny background, but a background that champions the principles that polygyny stands on.
That's always best. The challenge is, since our society is already so corrupted, mothers are already corrupted, grandmothers are, you know, they no longer have the wisdom of back in the day due to this modern thinking and feminazism that has come through many of our communities. So one of the most important characteristics, if you want to find a healthy woman for polygyny, is to see if she's growth minded. All right. See if she's growth minded, because either A, she is going to be open to learning, or she's going to be open to questioning her own beliefs. Because if the men, and I let men know this all the time, there's not a place that women just hang out that are polygynous. Like, that just make them a bigger target. That doesn't make any sense. However, if you are the right man, then they supporting you will be open to your vision. All right. Or you can influence them to be open to your vision because you're that good of a man. Going back to my other examples, if I'm talking about, all right, people, you know, you look at a LeBron, or you look at some celebrities that people have a lot of money, or they're billionaires and so on. How many women are willing to go ahead and share this one man, and are sharing these men already? All right.
Behind closed doors.
Now, these people have resources. However, women are sharing men right now who have nothing, who just got some game. You know what I'm saying? Being seduced by their ears. So when you become an exceptional man, become an outstanding man, somebody who's actually operating on principles, being honest, let them know where you stand up front, versus giving them a beautiful lie, because women love a beautiful lie over the honest or ugly truth any day. They'll rather take that, know it's game and everything else, suck it up and everything, and then play the victim many times. But a good woman is going to be open and focused on her own growth. And maybe I don't know something. Maybe there is something here. You
Exactly.
know, so by becoming the man you need to be, you actually attract the right women versus going to find the women. They actually find you. And then other men who are looking for their daughters or nieces or women folk to get married also find you because you stand out. You see, I didn't recognize what that phrase was when I was little. Women used to say, oh, all the good men are already married. They say they married or they're gay. Well, if they married, they probably can marry again. They've already demonstrated they're able to do it. And you consider they're a good man. Why not marry that same man and adjust your time schedules and do it how it was already done, where we all know the phrase, it takes a village to raise a child. But if it takes a village to raise a child, then polygyny is the institution in that village.
Indeed, so
that's how we live it.
That's how we live it. And now on the flip side, if it was a woman in your class and she asks, what can I do to prepare myself? Or what can I do to get myself ready for a man of that type of quality?
Well, there's 5 characteristics that my wives and I have really kind of boiled things down to for men and women to really focus on. So women, I'll let them know, men look for these type of qualities. And if you work on each of these qualities, you'll separate yourself massively from the masses of women, all right, that aren't even trying, that think that, oh, I'm enough, I don't have to work on myself. And it's under the acronym that I call FRAME. So FRAME. The F stands for feminine. Your femininity is important. It's actually one of your superpowers. It's the thing that allows us to be able to melt, and that we as masculine men don't have or necessarily bring. You do that, working on your femininity. Men desire that highly. The next thing is respectful. Being respectful, understanding what respect is, what it looks like, what it sounds like, and what it feels like to a masculine man. Respectful. Most men's love language is respect. The A is for affectionate and admiring. You're affectionate and admiring. You're not weaponizing yourself. You're not weaponized. You are on his team. He's not on your team. He's the coach. There must be a leader. He got your back, your provision, everything, but you are affectionate because he needs that for connection, and you need that love for connection as well. So affectionate and admiring. The M is for mature. There's nothing like a beautiful, ignorant chick. Nothing like that. I remember Willie D back in the day. He had a song. Actually, I think the song is called Willie D. All right. He's one of the ghetto boys, right?
That's a fact.
And he said, I'd rather have an ugly chick than a hard-head, fine-ass, pretty bitch who ain't down, want me to clown, acting like herself is the only thing in town, kind of edited myself out there, but I got that. I understood what that meant. So mature, somebody can have an intellectual conversation with, somebody who can breathe and self-soothe and not jump off being emotional and being a master manipulator. Because many women are master manipulators. They've been playing with dolls and making up scenarios, and we was playing with trucks and on the playground. They can far out talk us, manipulate us, use their femininity against us. They can weaponize it, utilize tears, all of these things against us, and we fall for it many times. But if you mature, you're going to protect the one that's protecting you. You're going to be honest and be able to express yourself as an adult, not like a child having a tantrum. And then E, you're exclusive. You ain't for the streets. There's a reason for that. That right there is a high value woman. That's a woman that's highly coveted and highly desired. And a woman that possesses all of these characteristics and works on these things, she'll write a ticket.
All right. Now, wait. That right there is powerful. I love that. Frame. Yo, that's powerful. And the last one, exclusive.
Repeat it one more time. Feminine, respectful, affectionate, admiring, mature, and exclusive. You work on those as a woman, you're going to win. You're going to separate yourself massively. Now, for men, there are characteristics they need to have. This is the one. Once you work on these characteristics, you're working on becoming exceptional. So one is being fearless. Again, it's not necessarily about the risk. It's about the worth. Is it worth it? Being reliable. You say you're going to do it. Follow through. Nothing like somebody that talk a good game but don't follow through. reliable, ambitious. You got to have some type of ambition. What's your mission? You want somebody to support you, be behind you, and have your back and whatever. What's your ambition? What is it you're moving toward? What's the big picture and the big vision that you can articulate to her? Being masculine, being a man. It's not the time to go ahead and, well, we want to go ahead and share all our vulnerabilities and do this and do that. Yeah, you can be vulnerable to a certain extent, but you're a man. Her shoulders aren't built like yours. You must be a man, being masculine and handling your business and having the characteristics that come with that. In the last part, the E is exceptional. When women are striving for the top 10% of men, you get yourself there, that means you have more optionality. So to go over it again is fearless, reliable, ambitious, masculine, and exceptional. That's frame. So if we work on those characteristics on ourselves, growth, then we become better. And if we become better, we become that much more attractive, because these are the characteristics I'm teaching my children. These are the characteristics I'm teaching clients. These are the characteristics that people strongly desire all across the globe, no matter your background, ethnicity, religion, or lack thereof. You possess these characteristics that's attractive to good women, to good men. Some may not give a damn. You know what I'm saying? You could just be an outlet to go ahead and discharge stress. But if you're working on these characteristics, that's where you can separate yourself from the masses.
And that's what I think plays a big part. It doesn't matter which spiritual system, because I've met sisters from India who practice collectivism and polygyny. I met some sisters who don't have a secular religion. They have an indigenous from Africa. But I noticed that all the rules, same rules, the principles, the characteristics, that's spiritual. Morals, when your mother teach you good values and manners. These are the things we're talking about. So when you hear spiritual polygamy, for the people out there, don't think it's about religion. It's not based on religion. It's based on what he said. Characteristics, principles, morals, values. These are the things that's more spiritual than a church. You know what I'm saying? The actual physical place of a church means nothing if the people don't possess these characteristics and principles that he spoke about. So these two blueprints is in your book. Share that for the people. Let the people know.
This is not in Let's Talk Polygamy, actually.
Okay.
Actually just came and really broke down and reverse engineered this year, saying what are the top characteristics and frame. So we are working on some more. We're actually working on some other books, but this is part of our coaching program. You know, work with people one-on-one and also in groups as well. So we haven't even filmed any videos on this yet. So that's already on deck.
Wow. So y'all out there, y'all getting it first. Y'all getting it first. Tell people how they can get involved with your program.
Okay, indeed. You can pretty much reach us if you want to see if you actually are ready for polygyny, if you're ready and qualified for polygamy, right? You go to outstandingpersonalrelationships.com. We have an assessment you can take. It's free. Once you finish the questions, it'll give you a score and you'll know where you stand. All right. So you can, of course, go there or go to our YouTube channel, Outstanding Personal Relationships. All right. For me directly, if you want to book a call, go to coachnazir.com. But again, that information is also on the site. So IG, Outstanding Relationships. So you look at our brand, it's like that. Outstanding Personal Relationships, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok is Outstanding Relationships, as well as IG. But of course, the website. So you just put it in, Outstanding Personal Relationships, Google it, you're going to find us. You know what I'm saying? Our book, the name of it is Let's Talk Polygamy Uncensored. And I'm married to Coach Fatimah and Coach Nyla. And they work with women, whether they initial wise, incoming wise, whatever, they work with women all over the world and coach as well. So they can definitely relate. And we also have a community and stuff like that at polygamycommunity.com. But one of the most important things is that being that support system, that base for anybody that's interested. So whether it's my book, your book, if they're interested in polygyny, they have both. You know what I'm saying? Resources, being serious, because the fact of the matter is, this is a family. And if you talk about building a family, you need every single resource you can get. And just like we aren't just physical beings, we are, we physical beings, we're spiritual beings really having a physical experience. The sooner we recognize that, the sooner we recognize that we need healing holistically. So getting the spiritual portion that you talk a lot more about in the book, it being on the same plane, the same vibration matters. Just like it does with practical, no nonsense steps of leadership and also femininity and frame that we're speaking about. So again, definitely, brother, it's been a pleasure. Prayerfully, people got some great information. And
That's a fact.
Reach out, feel free.
Nah, I appreciate you. Nah, this was wonderful. And I'm sure that people need to, the young people, I would like, because that's what motivated me to write Polygamy Moorwet. I wanted the young people that's in the poly craze, because there's going to be a few of them that's not with the movement of sex and what they're pushing. And who do they, you know, what do they turn to for resources, for guidance? And I think both of our books is that. I think that what you guys is doing, I'm definitely myself want to enroll my wives or my fiancés into the program so they can use the resources well. And like you said, we need resources, but we also need the actual people, because the resources, the books is good, but to actually see you in motion on YouTube, on social media, interacting with your wives, the topics y'all talk about, how there's a divine masculine, divine feminine dance between y'all. It's beautiful. So I commend you. I appreciate you for writing the foreword in Polygamy Moorwet. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to stay in touch. And I'm definitely going to come visit y'all out in Cairo.
All right, bro. That'd definitely be a pleasure, man. We look forward to having you. Just remember, wish changes nothing, but a decision changes everything. So y'all take care and take charge. Assalamu alaikum.
Islam. Peace.
I'm a polygamous man. Yeah, I said it.
And I hated it when I found out.
Well, I kind of liked it when I found out.
Was it easy? Not at all. However, if you want to practice polygamy without destroying your family,
Make sure you grab our book.
It's been called The Blueprint to Polygamy.
The link is in the description.